Okay, so this is the chapter 1 reflection summary on the book Great by Choice. And the book title is called Thriving in Uncertainty, which is a really interesting title, and it just gives you the thought that in life, things aren't going to go the way that you always expect them. And the book gives the example of 9/11, which obviously no one expected, and really took everyone, including the president, the citizens of the United States back then, even us, even though we didn't know it, by surprise. And we can't predict the future. We have to be prepared for literally anything to happen. And that's a one big point. So the next big point that it talks about is in this book, they're trying to do experiments and they're doing cases. And one of their requirements for these cases is they want to compare industries that went from basically the bottom of the food chain to the top. And they wanted them to improve basically 10 times from what they were, which is a lot for any company. And an example that they use in the book is something called Southwest Airlines, which from 1972 to 2002 improved over 63% better. So that's basically saying over 63 times what it was. And it just talks about how in times of uncertainty and throughout any situation, you have to be able to thrive in those situations. Another example that the book gives that proves this point even further is if you were traveling with a mountaineer on a mountain. If you were just spending the day, just an ordinary day, with that mountaineer and nothing really happened, like you didn't encounter any animals or there was no disaster, nothing went wrong, you wouldn't really see what made that person or that leader such a great leader, because there's no situation that requires any special circumstance or special experience or skills. What the evidence concludes in the book is that you would see how this person really is a great leader and how their experience and knowledge would come into play if there was a natural disaster happening or some other terrible thing on the mountain happening, because then they would have to thrive under pressure. They would have to really show that they're up for the job, they're up for the task. So next in the chapter, there are two really interesting ideas, which is being open to the power of contrast and being surprised by the data that you draw from your experiments. So first is the power of contrast. This just means like you shouldn't be afraid to compare your ideas with others and accept that you're wrong. Like in business, people are going to clash with different ideas. People are going to clash in all sorts of ways, and you should be able to respectfully disagree is what this book's saying. And you shouldn't just bash people. You shouldn't just straight up tell people that they're wrong. You should be able to talk it out. You should be able to respect others' opinions in that way. And the next one's being surprised by the data. So the whole point of these experiments in the book was that these people, they want to be surprised by the data. They don't want to uncover things that they already know or that they already were expecting, which is exactly what they did. And to prove this in the book, what they did was they provided a list of enhanced myths and contrary findings. And an example that they use is that successful leaders in a turbulent world are bold and risk-seeking visionaries. The enhanced myth is basically what they expected beforehand, and the contrary finding, which is the best leaders we studied did not have a visionary ability to predict the future. They observed what worked before in the past, and they built upon these foundations to make it even better, just more disciplined. And it just shows that you can't always go with your first instinct. You have to sometimes expect the unexpected. And then after this, there's a new lens and enduring quest, which is basically just a conclusion of the chapter and challenges you to question other ideas and basically summarizes the past points in the chapter.